Hey folks, it's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of the Rush Hour podcast with a bonus weekend episode for you here. A big day of football, and my New England Patriots had a pretty convincing win, finally, so I can take some time off from being an angry sports fan to covering what is turning out to be a pretty wild conspiracy. The Charlie Kirk shooter, or alleged shooter, Candace Owens is saying he is framed. Now, I was away from the studio all week long making mobile content from you on my family holiday in Aruba, but I am back here in Nashville, Tennessee to break this all down. I'm going to share what Candace said and why she's not wrong to be asking these questions when the FBI is either botching this or leading us down the wrong way on a one-way street. I don't know which one's the case here. So I'm going to share with you guys the different theories that ChatGPT has compiled about what might be going on, most of which are easy to debunk. And again, I think you have to be careful when you cover this case because, you know, there was a cold-blooded killing. It was horrible. It is, you know, terribly divisive, and there's no place for that kind of violence. But the question is, do they have the right guy? That's the question being asked. And here's what Candace had to say on Friday, which, by the way, guys, this is going to be a crazy week. It is going to be absolutely crazy. For her to drop these bombshells on Friday, you would expect some follow-through here. Now, there is no evidence other than taking Candace's word. And I'm kind of, I like Candace Owens. I like her style of storytelling. And at the same time, like, I don't agree with her on some things she covers. I think she's really up Schitt's Creek without a paddle with regard to the Macron lawsuit she's facing. I could be wrong. We're going to watch it play out. We've been covering it. Hit the subscribe button if you want to hear what I hope is fair coverage. But with Candace Owens here, I mean, she claims to have a source which is saying that Tyler Robinson, the alleged shooter, wasn't even or has never even been to campus where this took place. Here's what she had to say. I want to break this news immediately because it feels important, and I think if I don't break it immediately, something bad might happen. I hope I have earned the trust enough of the people to believe me when I say that I have verified this information but cannot reveal the source. I am going to tell you what I think is the bad thing she thought might happen in a second. Candace says this: Tyler Robinson is not suicidal. The entire narrative that was placed in the media about him having been suicidal is completely fictional, as are many other aspects of what we have been told. Yes, that's right. There were text messages that were really just summarized. We haven't seen the actual proof of these text messages. I mean, they've showed, I don't know if they're screen grabs or if they've recreated them, but I haven't vetted the metadata for the text messages where they claim Tyler didn't want to be taken alive. Like, those types of things are very sketchy, because if this is a, quote, Epstein case where he, allegedly hangs himself in prison, then we don't get the truth. We don't get his testimony. We don't get all of the information about his side. It would be a very easy case if the guy just said, yep, I did it, and you would think that if he was on the roof and had committed this atrocity, you would think that he would, be ready to go down. Did he turn himself in? Like, all of these things they're saying happened. Then if he turned himself in and confessed to his discord and his partner and all these, if he did all of that, case closed, right? Well, for Candace Owens to be saying he's not suicidal, the entire narrative was placed in the media about him was wrong. This is interesting. His father having, quote unquote, turned him in after a confession is complete fiction. And this would be easy to disprove. Dad, where are you? Where's Tyler Robinson's father? Will he speak out? To the contrary, Tyler Robinson maintains his innocence and has never even been to the UVU campus. There are absolutely zero photos or video that the campus can produce to the contrary, which is why they have produced nothing other than a blurry image which Tyler's family knows is not him. Tyler has never once expressed a suicidal thought. I want to make that clear. The federal government is lying about absolutely everything other than the fact that it is his gun. So the question is he a patsy? Did they just find a guy who had a gun that they think could be, used as the weapon here, and they, placed it in his hands? And I mean, lots of questions that we have now with these bombshells coming up from Candace Owens. And by the way, if Candace is wrong about her source here, Tyler Robinson's father is going to speak out. Not that we needed further substantiation, but Tyler Robinson did not author those Discord messages. I'd like to again stress that he has never been to UVU campus, but I need to confirm this later. I believe he was around the campus on that day. I will have more on this later, but I wanted to immediately publish that the Tyler Robinson suicide narrative, plus the dad that did the right thing after realizing his son was guilty, is a federal concoction. So we are waiting with bated breath to see what more Candace has here. Now, other reasons as to why the story, the narrative that has been given out doesn't line up, we're going to share. And again, my channel, we cover everything from pop culture to politics, lighthearted things, but it seems like this is going to be a real sticking point. We are in the middle. I mean, look at how many decades people talked about the JFK assassination. We are in a new world right now where there are hundreds of video angles in all different angles. Again, I'm not going to share anything gory with you guys, but there is a video that has gone around saying that the shooting took place in a completely different angle than has been alleged, where Tyler Robinson would have been sitting. Like, there's that video of Tyler Robinson running off of the roof, which again, if that was Tyler or somebody else, that's super bizarre, that's super suspect. No video yet of that person getting on the roof, only a video of them getting off. And right here at the center of this video, which I'm not going to play, which looks like a fly flying by, would be the bullet coming from the 4 p.m. angle, the 4 o'clock angle of hitting Charlie Kirk actually on the back right side, and then the exit wound coming out the other end. Those that had the sad misfortune of watching this video play out live most likely saw the exit wound. They say the entrance wound in most cases is extremely clean. It is the exit wound that is bone fragments and other, parts that make it more, sort of splattered, for lack of a better term. And again, I apologize to those who, to place this visual in your heads, but when you look at like the JFK shooting, people have analyzed this for decades, but where we stand now, people are still sifting through the evidence, and I think it's taken several weeks for people to even be able to look at it because, it is gory. There's been first responders that have commented saying, having worked in their own trauma cases, when there's liters of blood that, unfortunately, comes out when an artery is hit and a bullet wound and all of that, that it's an absolute mess. And it just wasn't the case there. So again, I'm not here to fan any flames of the conspiracy. I just find it interesting that what Candace Owens says here would be so provable if she's wrong, that Tyler Robinson's father did or did not phone it in. I mean, wouldn't they be able to do a FOIA request for whatever calls he makes to any government officials if he did call the FBI or call the 911? So will they provide that? Again, tons of questions to be asked here. Here's Joe Rogan questioning the initial narrative that he, was dismantled his gun and put it back together.
That's the other thing. They said that he took it apart and then put it back together again. Shut the fuck up. Do you know how much time it would take to do that if you were highly skilled?
To disassemble a gun.
To disassemble a rifle so that you can get it in a backpack. And by the way, not going to fit.
Not going to fit in a backpack.
And then somehow or another reconnects it once he gets off the roof.
All right, so it's all over when you have folks like Joe Rogan questioning these things. And look, I think it's fair. I think it's fair to be questioning the government right now. Do I think that, I don't know. We're so rushed to have an opinion. Why would they do this? I don't know. I generally believe that the simplest answer is the most truthful. And in most cases, the simple answer would be a crazed lone gunman, a lunatic, took a shot and got him. But if that information doesn't line up, if the forensics of where he would have been don't line up, I mean, they're talking about trap doors, there's underground tunnels. This is all stuff you would think would be worked out. If this was a professional job and not Tyler Robinson, then don't you think it would be done with a little bit more, tact? Don't you think it would be done with, more of a lights out case where they wouldn't be leaving, clues and crumbs and just a sloppy behavior? I honestly don't know. Here's the suspiciously fast 24-hour timeline that was posted. The shooting and death pronouncement of Charlie Kirk, hour 0. 1 hour later, transported to medical examiner. And people say, look, the way he was shot, his spine was probably hit. He tensed up, and there's terms for all of that. But he probably died within a minute or two, as sadly, there was just no saving him. But an hour later, transported medical examiner. Body transported from hospital to Utah County Medical Examiner's office. Forensic autopsy would have been done hour 3. Full autopsy performed. Cause of death, gunshot to neck. Manner of death, homicide. Now on the internet, there's a bunch of information going around that maybe an autopsy never actually happened. I honestly don't know. We'll have to, sign off, see who the medical examiner would be. Would they reveal that information? This is the way to shut down conspiracy theories, is to get the information out there. You don't have to provide all of the details, but get the information out there. And then death certificate within 10 hours, transportation to Arizona, flight time 1.5 hours, plus handling at the airports. That was at hour 17. So people are commenting the way that Charlie's body was returned so fast feels really off. So again, was it such an obvious case where they knew exactly exactly what happened to him, that it was a quick and easy medical examination? I honestly don't know, don't claim to know, but you think that they would be able to know where the entrance and exit wounds are and make that information public. And if the evidence on video just shows the complete opposite, then do they have everybody looking in the exact wrong direction from where the shooter would have actually been? I mean, these questions we don't have answers to. The clip that I shared last week on my social media that has gone completely viral is Kash Patel. I mean, Kash Patel is in way over his head right now. And here he talks about this confession note that was destroyed. And this right here, for me, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I look for information that then I wonder, that's interesting. This, what I'm about to share with you right here, is the number one reason it seems fishy to me.
I'm sorry. So what I'm able to say is, I addressed it partially earlier, is that the written note, we believe, what did exist, and we have evidence to show what was in that note, which is, and I'm going to summarize, basically saying, the suspect wrote a note saying, I have the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. That note was written before the shooting. Evidence of its existence, we now have learned, existed before the shooting, was in the location.
So the note existed. We don't have the note. We have evidence of the note. And people have said, well, maybe the forensics is the note's not there, but what they have behind the note is the imprint of, I don't know. We'll have to see. But forgive me for not trusting the competence of the FBI director and any other stooges involved to get this right.
In the suspect and partner's home. But we have since learned that the note, even though it has been destroyed, we have found forensic evidence of the note, and we have confirmed what that note says because of our aggressive interview posture at the FBI.
And again, whatever this aggressive interview posture is, that to me feels like they're getting shoddy evidence. That's like saying, well, we waterboarded somebody, so that was our aggressive interviewing. It's like, what? What are you talking about? That's, they've proven that aggressive interviewing usually leads to false confessions, right? So talking about this note, and again, this was the initial, and this is why we're going to look back on this. The fact that Kash Patel and so many people immediately went to the media means that they're going to be cross-examined from Tyler Robinson's defense, right? What they're saying now can and will be used against them if they're giving out the wrong information or summarizing things in the wrong way that don't end up being true. So at the 7:45-minute mark here, we have the host on Fox News discussing how they're already making this political when they claim they don't want to.
And say something.
Our investigation is ongoing. That's a great question, and we don't have an answer on that just yet.
But Mr. Director, you're right. Your job is not to speak to ideology. But you do have the BAU, the Behavior Analysis Unit, that are there. And my sources, people that are within the Bureau and outside that used to be FBI, tell me that the BAU has been encouraged not to tackle the transgender issue from an ideology standpoint.
So this is Kash Patel, again, right away, making it political, saying, well, we're trying to not make this thing political, but the shooter's, partner was transitioning. And it's like, by trickling this information out, by giving us a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and there's a note, but they are creating a feeding ground for these conspiracies and for finger pointing.
You heard that? Are you tackling that? I know you only been there recently, but you can't have a political slant saying we're not going to attack different political ideologies because it's going to offend someone.
You're absolutely right. And that's why me and the deputy have been quarterbacking this investigation ourselves. There is no one at the FBI that's going to politicize this investigation. There's no one at Quantico or anywhere else that is going to say we are not looking at X or Y. We are looking at the facts, and that is why we are releasing the facts in record fashion. If you go back and look at historical cases like Luigi Mangione and the Boston bombing.
All right, so they're releasing the facts, but without the evidence. And that's what's making people go, well, don't tell me about this note that you have in the forensics, show the math behind that. And without that, people are asking questions. Different side story here. Marjorie Taylor Greene also posted a "I'm not suicidal" statement. This is insane. Now, this is regarding Epstein. She says, "I'm not suicidal and one of the happiest, healthiest people you will meet. I have seen her do CrossFit. She's pretty strong, I have full faith in God and Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. As a sinner, I'm only saved through his grace and mercy. With that said, if something happens to me, I ask you all to find out which foreign government or powerful people would take heinous actions to stop the information from coming out. Not only about this issue, but because of the truth that I have been speaking. The people understand what I'm saying." So there it is. Wild stuff. And this is regarding Epstein, which, of course, the reason why a lot of people are questioning the Charlie Kirk shooter is the same reason that they question what's going on with Epstein, because the Epstein files have not been released. Epstein was, killed himself. I say that in quotes. In prison awaiting his trial. And one thing after another, no matter how many people want to support the release of these files, they're finding new and innovative ways to keep that from happening. The Democrats just won a special election in Arizona, which means they have enough votes to bring this thing to a vote, right? They have to vote on making a vote. This is how slow and ridiculous the process is. And now we've got Magic Mike Johnson of refusing to swear in. I mean, there's kicking the can down the road as long and as fast as possible. Several Republicans are standing with the Democrats to make this happen. One being Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying, I don't care what, if something happens to me, just so you know, I wasn't suicidal, which I don't think anyone believes she was, but that's a powerful statement to make. Just like it's a powerful statement that Candace Owens on a Friday afternoon, which is, by the way, is not a great time to be releasing new, information on the news, says, I want to break this as soon as possible. So she's clearly waiting to make a longer story, which we will be here to cover it. But she says, I've earned the trust of everybody. I need you guys to know this. Tyler Robinson is not suicidal. And maybe by making this post right now, she is delaying what would be a fake suicide. If someone that has access, is able and willing to, get him out of there so he can be the fall guy. It's a wild time. It's crazy. And by the way, like I said, don't blame the people that are asking these questions, because in the Epstein case, you have a minute of missing footage. You've got the cameras turned off at the wrong time. It was, so many situations that it's like, don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. It's so obvious there's more going on there. So when it comes down to the conspiracies that exist, I don't fall for most of them. The real quick ones is that there's foreign involvement, that this was Israel that did it, the Mossad. There's no information that that's the case. What there is there's information that Russia, China, and Iran are amplifying these theories online to fuel division, which again is what China and Russia have been accused of in the past. It's like they don't care what side you're on; they just want confusion and hatred in our country. If there's one thing we should come together on, Democrats, Republicans, is a bipartisan PSA to let people know that there are systems in place in other governments meant to divide us. Absolutely meant to divide us. I remind my audience of this all the time. Do not fight with strangers online. They might be a bad actor. It might be someone trying to sow division from either within or from without. Either way, don't fall for it. Save your time. The second theory is that there's a second shooter, a fall guy, and this is because of the grassy knoll trope, which is, from the JFK grassy knoll. Is there a second person? Did they get the right guy? Videos with supposed hand signals or rooftop figures feed it. The reality is that authorities say only Tyler Robinson was involved. Many viral clips were misdated or misinterpreted. Now, was Tyler Robinson involved in all? Just because that's what the feds are saying, that's what, obviously folks like Candace are diving into. Ambiguous video evidence lets people see what they want to see. And that's kind of what you see in conspiracies. When there isn't a set conclusion, when there's an ambiguous sort of, you look at it and you come up with your own conclusions. So this idea that it's a deep state cover-up, I think that's the most prominent theory. The idea that the government takes out its own dissidents is a recurring theme in U.S. political folklore. No evidence, but again, distrust in the government exists because the government has lied. There have been conspiracies. There have been government programs in the past that have, abused our own citizens. Absolutely. So the final hoax is that Kirk is alive, and this one is dead in the water to me. This idea that there was a blood squib on him that blew up, and what are you talking about? For me, that's not it. But the idea that there could be a patsy, that is one that absolutely is a reality as far as the conspiracy with the most legs right now. We'll be here to cover it. I'm going to try my best to give you guys. If and when evidence comes out that it's like a slam dunk case that it's Tyler Robinson, you would think there would be a hell of a lot of forensics that could back that up. We have yet to see that. And forgive me for not trusting the stooges that have already, caught themselves either in lies or half information. So whatever, what your destroyed note, that ain't going to cut it for me. And that's not going to cut it in the courtroom. So we'll have to see what comes next. My guess is Candace Owens is going to have some very interesting content coming this week. Now, if you're new to my channel, I make morning episodes and afternoon episodes called the Rush Hour Podcast, right? Got it for you right here. The Rush Hour Podcast, available twice a day, 25 minutes, bite-sized content, all of your stories, whether it's pop culture, politics, viral videos, things like that. And I'm also going to try to cover more long-form content right now, which has been the Blake Lively case, the trial there. And with Candace Owens, it's been her defamation case against the French. The French president has a defamation case on her, which we've been covering. All of the updates we'll have. And now we're going to continue to follow whatever breadcrumbs they have with this Charlie Kirk shooting and see if there's any information that comes out. It's going to go in one of two directions. It's either going to get really strange and more interesting, or there's going to be more information that comes out pointing at Tyler Robinson. Right now, I have no idea. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. We'll be back first thing tomorrow morning. We'll see you then. I'm Dave. This is The Rush.